I've learned how to ignore it. Hello everyone, this is Armstrong Williams on the right side. Armstrong. Don't curse, speak English. Armstrong. Virtuous society. Armstrong. I dare you to listen. Hey, turn it up. Hey. Armstrong. Get on the right side. Armstrong. Elevate your mind. Armstrong. I'm Armstrong Williams on the right side. Armstrong. Yo, man, it's your boy K.O. And you're tuned into the most conservative of our brothers. Armstrong. The Armstrong Williams Show. Please give me a break. Grow up. You know, Nana May. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Armstrong Williams Show. AM 730 WTNT. 102.9 FM in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Yes! This is the new Armstrong Williams. I've just been so enthusiastic, so excited, so thrilled, just so honored to be on the airwaves. I just got a good feeling about things. I got a good feeling. But, you know, I am literally interviewing one of my favorite movie directors in the world. I mean, she's like a sister to me. Her husband is my brother. We have gone through thick and thin together. We watched each other grow up. I knew her before she was ever in the movie and film industry. And I look at her now in her career, and I just beam with pride because I had a chance. I had a chance to see her film, Live Fine Tune, a Renaissance women production, written, directed, and produced by my friend, Nana May. I'll tell you, it was riveting. It was fantastic. It was emotional. It was moving. I was actually shocked because I actually went to watch the screening at the Heritage Foundation. I said, well, you know, I'm doing this for my friend. She asked me to come. I expected something mediocre because, listen, I am a movie buff. I watch movies. It's about the storyline, and the actors can be okay. I just love the storyline. And this movie had one of the best storylines that I've seen in a long time. It reminded me of Madam X, Imitation of Life, The Crown Affair. I mean, I could just go on what this movie reminded me of. And I'm so happy to have as founder and chairman of the Renaissance Foundation and international leadership organizations with offices and the Republic of Korea join us, the distinguished Renaissance woman, Nana May, welcome to the airwaves.
Oh, Armstrong, you're so sweet.
Oh, it's the truth.
Wonderful to be with you.
Listen, we all need our lives fine-tuned.
Yes, definitely. And that's sort of the point of this movie, is that especially this young pop star thinks she's the center of the universe, and it's all about her, and she's entitled to, you know, throw her tantrums and everything, regardless of how it impacts people around her. But then she realizes when she moves out of her center and that there's a bigger world around her, then people have no clue who she is, that she's not a star to them. She's just another person. And the interesting thing is the people she runs into, they treat her with dignity regardless of who she is, and then she learns through that and through their kindness to her, because they don't want anything from her. They just want to, you know, be friends and be Christian people to her, that she learns through them to how to fine-tune her life.
You know, it's an all-star cast. I mean, Alveda King, Grover Norquist, Lee Edwards. I saw no cameo appearance by Nana. Yes, I did. I saw you in the movie.
Did you see me?
Yes, I did. I just remember. Colin Hanna. I must tell you, I was jealous that I was not in the movie.
Oh,
I have to admit it. It's the kind of movie that because I could see my values. And talk about the values that you reminded us of in this movie, Life Fine-Tuned, Nana.
Well, it's very redemptive, and what we tried to do is sort of have two parallel movies going on simultaneously, where you saw the one girl falling off the ladder of fame and the other girl, who's her understudy, climbing up the ladder. And so many times you see these young girls in Hollywood, or kids, boys, whatever, that they want so badly to be a star. They want so badly to be discovered. And when they get discovered, they forget where they came from. They forget their roots. And if they're not grounded in something specific, like, you know, strong family or strong family values, or having God in their lives, they can really be untethered to reality. and they can just spin out of control. And that's what we saw with this young girl. She was just spinning out of control. And when she throws a tantrum and runs away, thinking that they're going to come run after her, they've just basically had enough of her. So they plot to basically replace her with the understudy. And again, we see the understudies sort of, quote, rise up the ladder. And at the same time, the other girl is realizing that there's more to life. And she has an accident, and a wonderful Christian family takes care of her and nurses her back to health. And during that time, she's learning a new instrument. The new instrument is the violin, because she had played the guitar before. And then in learning that, it's very symbolic of how, with a violin, you can get different tunes with a violin. You can get classical music, you can get fiddling, but it's how you tune and how you play that violin. And so the violin is very symbolic of who she is. So it becomes sort of symbolic throughout the entire movie.
What about the symbolism of what she was running away from?
Well, she was basically an unhappy person because, as we find out, and I won't reveal everything in the movie or anything, but we find out a little bit about her past and why she is so unhappy. And you're thinking, someone who has all these, and you can see the opening, all her albums and her album covers and her Grammys and her awards and everything like that, and you're thinking, why would someone with all this still be so unhappy and still be so nasty and still be so incomplete and out of tune with life, and what is it? And it's just a reminder that without the substantive things of life, a family and friends and a relationship to God, that life is basically empty. And so we shouldn't be striving for these material things in life. We should be striving for things that have substance, that ground us and center us with whatever that, builds that foundation with whatever that gifting is that God has given us. And so that's basically the journey she's taking in the movie.
And it also goes to show you that, the thing that I love most, without giving away the movie, is that love thy neighbor as thyself. Mm-hmm. That our neighbors are sometimes our keeper of our flames, the flame that burns out of control with anger, selfishness, rudeness. Mm-hmm. And sometimes what we have to do is rise to the occasion when one of us go astray, whether it's someone we know, when we don't know, or someone we need to know, because people are placed in our paths. There's something they take from us, and we also take from them.
Right, exactly. And that was kind of one of the, it's a very redemptive movie, in that the family that was placed in her path, they're a strong Christian family, but it's not a preaching movie, it's not, Bible thumping by any means. It's a very functional family. A lot of people were laughing at it, saying, gosh, this is so refreshing to see a movie that actually shows a functional family, because it seems that the requirement is that if you have a family, they've got to be absolutely dysfunctional in every way. And, everyone was laughing, saying that's so neat to kind of be reminded of what a functional family is. And you're right, they loved her unconditionally. They had no idea who she was. It wasn't like, oh, this is a rock star in our house. We need to treat her this way, we need to treat her that way. No, they were kind just because that's how God tells us to treat each other, with kindness and gentleness. And, in the end, there's, some wonderful surprises that happen, and I'm not going to give it away. You've got to see it. But I tell people it's kind of like Disney meets Dickens sprinkled with Capra. It's the way they used to make movies with a happy ending, with a feel-good story, one that you can see with the whole family. You're not embarrassed by, anything. There's no bad words. There's no anything, but there's a message of redemption in it that is a good takeaway for especially young girls who strive to, they want to be that pop star, they want to be that Madonna or that Britney Spears or whatever, but they don't, and the Britney Spears and Madonna and all don't understand what an incredibly strong role model they are for these girls, and they can either lead them into doing good or lead them into doing bad. So we see sort of a redemptive change in her whole attitude that way too, and how it impacts young girls. So,
where did you get the vision and the impetus for your movie Live Fine Tune?
It's really interesting. I can honestly say that God just gave me the screenplay. He just downloaded it into me one day, and I was sitting in a church. This is kind of the inspiration. The church scene where she, crashes.
Let's not give it away. Let's not give it away.
But where she walks in and
I know the church. I know the scene. I know the scene.
Okay, I was sitting in a little church like that in a rural place in Virginia, and literally it was that church. That's where we filmed it. We filmed it in exactly the same church this happened to me in. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching this mother and daughter dressed in these kind of long granny dresses from the 70s, and they're singing gospel, old country gospel, a cappella. And I was sitting there just mesmerized by it and mesmerized by the people in the church. I mean, the men were in there with their bib overalls, and the women in there with, dresses that looked like they'd, their best dress from 40 years ago. And it was just very, very rural and so humble. And I mean, I was humbled by being there with these people. I mean, just it was beyond precious. I can't even tell you. I felt like I was experiencing something very, very godly there, because these were some of the sweetest, most humble people that I'd ever met and ever seen. And I was just taken aback, and I started thinking, wow, what if someone from the city came in here? Oh, no, let's say, what if someone from Hollywood came in here? No, wait, what if someone from Hollywood who's a singer would walk in this church right now? What would their attitude be? It'd probably be like, oh my gosh, what is this stuff? Oh, what's that sound? Who are these hicks and these country bumpkins and da-da-da? And I just started thinking that it was like the world's colliding and kind of the clash of cultures that we have today. There's so many people that live in the flyover country, as you say, in America, that our political leaders and the media and the powers that be are disdainful of. I mean, they call them all kinds of names. They just think they're irrelevant. They refer to them as the flyover country. And so I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to have all those preconceived ideas about this flyover country be dispelled somehow? And literally, as I'm sitting there, and I
actually just hold that point. Hold it. We're computerized here. There, cut us off. Nana made live, fine tuned. We're live, streaming live. www.livestream.com/Armstrong Williams.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Anderson Brothers Bank, a family-owned and operated establishment that blends traditional personal service, local market awareness, and advanced technology to meet the financial needs of its customers. Visit abbank.com or call 843-464-6271 to see how they can assist you with your banking needs. Anderson Brothers Bank, celebrating 75 years of community banking, the way it should be. Stability right in your backyard since 1933.
Hello, my name is Ron Moulton. I'm running as a Republican for the City Council in the nation's capital, a political arena dominated by the Democratic Party. I'm seeking office in Ward 7, overwhelmed by unemployment and poverty. For the first time in decades, we have an opportunity to be elected, as the people that need the representation the most are now responding to the principles that will uplift them. For more information about my values and to donate, please visit www.ronmoulton.com.
Most Americans simply have never been taught the basics of money management, let alone how to secure their financial future. But there is hope. Financial Education and Literacy Advisors, also known as FELA, does what others don't. FELA teaches financial education. If you'd like more information about providing a financial wellness program for your employees, or a credit-bearing college course in personal finance, or other valuable programs, please visit myfela.com. That's myfela.com, or send an email to info@myfela.com.
Hi, this is Armstrong Williams with an opportunity to own a piece of paradise in Nassau, Bahamas. Spectacular land prices, 8,000 square feet, 20,000 square feet lot, affordable prices, hilltop properties with views of the magnificent sea. Just call 242-677-3120 or 3121 or go to info@rightsidewire.com and leave your information.
where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the special edition of the broadcast. Coming up later on in the show, C.L. Bryant in their movie Runaway Slaves. Oh, boy, it's movie night on the Armstrong Williams Show. Got Nana kicking it off, and then we have C.L. Is not only a Tea Party, but he is a charter member of the Red River Tea Party. He will be coming up next. From 1980 through 95, Nana May was president of Nana May Design Publications, specializing in congressional publications for over 150 congressional offices. She is truly a Renaissance woman. Juxtapose a live fine tune with the issues that we have facing not only our country today, but the world, Nina.
Well, the thing is that if everyone were to learn to fine-tune their life and understand their purpose, why God created them, to learn to give thanks in everything, realizing that's the will of God in their lives, then I think it would be a happier place all the way around. But it just seems there's so much anger and there's so much sort of vitriol and I don't know, so much unwillingness to listen to the other person or see their point of view, and also preconceived ideas and notions about who people are. And that's what we try and explore in this movie, is her preconceived idea about these people being country hicks, and then when she realizes not only that they're not, but actually that they are, you know, and I won't say who they are, but they're just as well known as she is, basically, but she has no idea who they are. That she's clueless as to who they are. You know, because a lot of times in life we're more interested in ourselves and what it's, you know, how it all revolves around us, and we really don't take the time to find out who even our neighbors are. So,
and sometimes we don't even take time to find out who we really are.
Yeah, right, exactly. And she didn't even know who she was until she went on this little journey, sort of accidental journey, so to speak. So,
you know, Nina, whether we like it or not, movies, entertainment, television has had a profound impact on who we are as Americans.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think that it's kind of gone down a slippery slope in the last couple of decades. I remember when we were growing up, movies had a happy ending. The good guy always won. You know, it had to be that the good guy won, especially in the cowboy movies. You never had the bad guy winning. And then they started changing things in about the 70s, and it seemed to sort of glorify evil, and, you know, the bad guy became the hero somehow. I don't even know how that happened. And it really did change, I think, sort of the culture all the way around, because people started seeing that, well, maybe this is the new paradigm of how we're supposed to live, as opposed to the old days when, you know, the old John Wayne movies and, you know, Jimmy Stewart and everything, and It's a Wonderful Life. There was always a message. There was always a good takeaway from it that you could sit down at the dinner table and discuss and say, oh, wow, I don't want to turn out like that. I want to be thankful for all the things that have happened to me and not regret that and not feel that anything is insurmountable, and on and on and on. But the discussions today are, you know, like, gosh, you know, the makeup on that zombie, you know, it was really pretty cool, but I didn't like the makeup on the other zombie. You know what I'm saying? There doesn't seem to be any real depth in the discussion about what Hollywood is giving us. So I think we can challenge it, and people want it. I think people are hungry for it.
Let me ask you something that you probably have not thought about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's something terribly wrong in our society with these astronomical births out of wedlock, and it's across the board.
Mm-hmm.
The dropout rates in high school, the discipline problems in our schools, the killing, the violence you look at, just going into a classroom and shooting kids because you're being bullied.
Mm-hmm.
And then some people ask sometimes where, and you're a movie producer, and you talked about that church that inspired you for Life Fine Tune, but, you know, sometimes I wonder, where is the church? And I'm just curious, your take on how is it that you rarely can go to church today and listen to it on TV or go to your church. You never hear them talking about abortion. You never hear them talking about this violence. You never hear them talk about this gay marriage and homosexuality. Not the kinds of things that we heard when we were growing up. And then I said to myself, I said, is that, the church really compromised something when it accepted tax-exempt status, and some could almost refer to it as hush money.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept. I'd never thought about that. But, the interesting thing, the weird thing is that in growing up, and I'm not that old, I'd never even heard of abortion. I mean, abortion was made legal, I think, in 1972, and, I was in college when it happened, and I had to look up the word. I'd never heard it. And I'd never heard of the term homosexual until I was maybe in high school. It wasn't something people talked about. It just wasn't, I mean, it was a different time. It was a different era. There were 425 people in my graduating class from school. 2 of the girls got pregnant out of wedlock, and they both married the fathers. And I mean, it was a scandal that they got married, but everybody did the right thing. They got married, and to be honest, they're still married to this day, and their children have done great, and they're very happy. So I just don't know how we've changed so much in just such a short time, to the point where on national TV and everything we're talking about, people's personal sex life and stuff like that. I mean, that just didn't happen when you were, when you were a girl. I mean, in fact, it was so funny. Everybody's picking on Rush Limbaugh about calling this girl who is going on in detail about, why she needs us to pay for her contraception. And when he says, well, basically, she's a slutter, she's a prostitute, whatever like this. I mean, I remember in the day, you would say that about a girl if she was loose and she was sleeping with different guys. And because no one did that. I mean, you were taught, if a guy puts his hand on your leg, you slap it off. You don't do anything until you got the ring on the finger. I mean, it was on and on. It was all about honoring yourself and honoring the dignity of womanhood and respecting yourself and not letting some man take advantage of you.
Yeah,
because
but also,
advantage of you, the word's on the street, and someone else.
Yeah, but also, no role model or someone who's in a position of influence, no matter how outraged they may be about the behavior that they hear about, should never ever refer to a woman as a slut and a prostitute. I'm sorry, there's just no place for it.
Yeah, but again, it could be a generational thing because he's of that same era.
You could say that if you didn't go as far to say, well, send me a video so I can watch it. I mean, you can't defend that; it's indefensible.
Oh, I didn't hear that part. But,
yes, you can't defend.
Anyway, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is that the way we were all raised, and we're all about the same age. I mean, people weren't talking about condoms. They weren't. You just didn't talk like that. I mean, you didn't talk about that in mixed company. I mean, it just wasn't done. And I do think that the women's movement, the women's revolution movement, has done more to hurt women.
I agree.
To value women and to dehumanize them than anything has done. Because guess who wins in the abortion issue? And it's really interesting that the men are so vocal about keeping abortion.
The insurance companies win.
Of course, they want to keep it legal because it makes them continue to be irresponsible in their actions. It's like, hey, I can go and knock up any woman I want, and I got to leave her with the burden of having to take care of an abortion while I'm on to the next woman. I mean, come on. I just think, how stupid can women be?
But you know what? Men love being referred to as players, which is just another term for slut. Mm-hmm. They don't have a problem with it.
Yeah. I know. I mean,
Do you have a problem with the double standard?
Yeah. I don't understand how people can have such little respect for themselves.
Well, Wilt Chamberlain, in his lifetime, wrote a book about sleeping with 20,000 women. Imagine if some woman wrote a book about sleeping with 20,000 men.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he's not called a slut or anything.
What do you call him?
I don't know.
What do you call him?
He's challenged in a lot of ways.
There's a problem here with this picture.
Yeah, I think that's a serial sex person or something. I don't know.
A predator.
Yeah, exactly, a predator. I mean, that's basically 20,000 broken lives right there that he's writing.
But he wrote a book, and a publisher published it, and we're proud of it. Think about the whole process. Can you imagine a publisher publishing a book of a woman saying she slept with 20,000 men?
Yeah.
Would never happen.
No.
It would be frowned upon.
I know.
A lot of issues here, Nana. We need to find too many lives.
Well, that to be honest, that's why I wanted to do a movie that was just it's got zero politics in it. It's got zero controversy in it. It's just fun. It makes you feel good. You walk out smiling, and you're just forgetting all the problems of the day, because there's enough stuff going on out there that, you know, you don't need another movie that just piles on stuff and you feel icky when you leave.
You know, Nana, I am so proud of you. How can someone go out and see the movie Live Fine Tune?
Well, I'll tell you what, if they're going to be in Hollywood on March the 23rd, we're being featured in the International Family Film Festival, and it's going to be in the Raleigh Studios, which is right there where they used to, you know, where Mary Pickford used to be filmed, and Gunsmoke, and, you know, a lot of these other shows like that. And it's going to be featured on March the 23rd at 7:30, and if they can come, let us know, and they can come and be our guests there. But it'll be released sometime in the summer. We're not exactly sure when it's going to be released.
Well, we'll have you back on. Nana, thank you so much for being the Renaissance person that you are.
Oh, you bet. Well, bless you, Armstrong. We love you dearly.
Thank you so much for joining us. All the best. A lot, and certainly your life is a live fine tune.
Well,
you live what you preach.
Oh, thank you.
And create.
Okay.
Thank you, Nana.
Okay.
When we come back, that was Nana May. C.L. Bryant. C.L. Bryant is our guest. Runaway Slave. The Runaway Slave movie. Oh, can't wait to talk about Runaway Slave. We're streaming live here at www.livestream.com/Armstrong Williams. It's movie night on the Armstrong Williams Show. Live Fine Tune and then Runaway Slave. That's right, Runaway Slave. Clearly unafraid to talk religion and politics. CL is not only a Tea Party patriot, but he is a charter member of the Red River Tea Party and Shreveport-Bossier Tea Party, co-founder of the DeSoto Parish Grassroots, founder of the National Movement, One Nation, Back to God. We'll be back. Ooh, getting hot in
here. For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Ready to talk about
Join the millions of Americans who pursue one of our country's finest traditions, from hunting to sport shooting. Since 1871, the NRA has grown as a service organization involved in all aspects of shooting sports and is a proud defender of the Bill of Rights. Join today to begin taking advantage of exclusive membership offers and discounts, including up to $25,000 in insurance coverage. Contact the NRA today. Call 1-800-672-3888 or visit nra.org.
Elder Chicks is an exciting part of the fastest growing segment of the population. Women in their 70s, 80s, and older who are mastering the art of a senior life. We're no longer unseen and unheard. We're providing role models for each other and the baby boomers who are fast approaching retirement. Join our virtual community. Hit www.elderchicks.com on your computer keyboard.
Most Americans simply have never been taught the basics of money management, let alone how to secure their financial future. But there is hope. Financial Education and Literacy Advisors, also known as FELA, does what others don't. FELA teaches financial education. If you'd like more information about providing a financial wellness program for your employees, or a credit-bearing college course in personal finance, or other valuable programs, please visit myfela.com. That's myfela.com, or send an email to info@myfela.com.
Travelers along the road of life who have fallen asleep at the wheel, to the many who woke up in time to avert disaster and get back on the righteous path. For the ones who crashed and survived and now adhere vigilantly to a virtuous and righteous path. Finally, Armstrong Williams' much-anticipated new book, Reawakening Virtues, gives his insights into these daily challenges and much more. Reawakening Virtues is available in bookstores and at Amazon.com.
where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
Have American blacks achieved the dream of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and become truly free at last? A powerful new documentary, Runaway Slave, premiering at the Landmark Regent Theater in Los Angeles and theaters around the country, tackles this question and exposes the economic slavery of the black community to the progressive big government policies of the left. Herman Cain, with many Hollywood celebrities, attended the red carpet event and screening. Now, the past and former NAACP President Chapter C.L. Bryant hosts an in-depth look at the new Underground Railroad through which American blacks are finding freedom from an ingrained cultural acceptance of entitlements and big government. And we welcome the founder and the producer of this Runaway Slave movie, Reverend C.L. Bryant, to the Armstrong Williams Show. Hello, sir, and welcome home.
Thank you, Brother Armstrong, for having me on, man. I am glad to be with you.
You know, I'm shocked that you all had a premiere and didn't invite me, but that's okay. I don't have to be invited to everything.
We tried to invite you. I don't know what happened, but we were going to fly you out. And I don't know what happened, but you were on the fly-out list. You need to answer them emails, brother.
I answered all my emails. I would have been there in the house for the premiere. Tell us how this came about.
Armstrong, I was a former president of the NAACP in Garland, Texas, and that's a rather large area there. And Dr. Benjamin Hooks was president of the National at that time. And I was asked to do a speech on pro-choice back in the late 80s. And when I realized that my turning that down would cause them to turn against me and my agenda, I realized that they not only wanted to control me, but they wanted to control the agenda and then use me to control the block of people. The seed, the idea of that experience began to take me more in a conservative direction, because I realized that this was the modus operandi, let's say, of the progressive right. And so Runaway Slave is exactly what I was. I was a runaway slave from that particular system. Freedom was all around me, but I had to find that for myself.
You know, I have to tell you, who have held these slaves hostage?
You know, you said it. You said
no. But those that have not seen the movie, I'm asking you, who has held these slaves hostage?
Let's talk about it. You got Al Sharpton, you got Ben Jealous, you got Jesse Jackson. The old adage is this: King had a dream, Jesse had a scheme. And brother, that's a fact. When we look at the 60 years, and Herman said it best, 60 years of total brainwashing. There's nothing else you can call the fact that 96% of black folks vote for one party. Irish people don't do that. Italians don't do that. Jews don't do that. Nancy Pelosi is a Democrat. Rick Santorum is a Republican. They don't tear each other down and call each other bad Italians because one happens to be a Democrat and one happens to be a Republican. Black folks have been brainwashed into thinking just because we all don't dress alike, sound alike, walk alike, that if we don't do that, if there's an odd duck in that, then he's the bad guy. What's up with that?
You know, I've never really understood why so many Americans who happen to be black in the middle class, who grew up on the values of education, hard work, discipline, thrift, religion, individual freedom, have become apologists for so many kids in these inner cities and urban centers who are not even representative or come close to what their value system are, but yet they become apologists and make excuses for them.
And using that word apologist is right down my line as a minister. You see, in our community, we go to church. As a pastor, as a minister, I have said over the years, killing our babies is wrong. The people in the congregation, amen, amen, that's right. We say, and this is historically true in the black community, we say same-sex marriage. That's wrong. They'll say, amen, Reverend, that's right. But then they will leave the church, Armstrong, and go to the polls on Tuesday and vote for an administration that is diametrically opposed to their core beliefs and is dedicated to destroying the black family. You have a president in office right now who condones the wholesale murder of black children. New York City, past year, 2011, there were more black babies killed with abortion than were born. If this trend continues, they don't have to worry about us. We won't be around.
Well, you know what? I don't agree with this about us, because you know what? This is not happening because of the hue of their skin. It's a culture that has been indoctrinated into certain people, and they follow their parents, their grandparents into this belief system, which is very destructive. They make excuses for crime. They make excuses for drugs. They make an excuse for not getting an education. They make an excuse for not getting a job. They feel somebody owes them, and it becomes a perpetual victim mentality. And yet these kids are conditioned this way, and yet there are so many in that same community that you speak of that find their way out. They don't make excuses. They adhere to the principles of the ideals that founded this country. They do very well. They pass it on to their kids, and sometimes they become mocked at because they speak proper English, because they don't seem to speak that so-called language called Ebonics. They do very well in the math and the sciences and the English, and sometimes people ridicule them, and yet we want to celebrate the least common denominator.
You and I understand that principle. Unfortunately, still among our people, by and large, we are still a minority, and you and I are still ostracized as conservative black men among our own people, even though in our own eyes we're trying to do, we love our people enough to tell them the truth about the way we see this particular situation. Margaret Sanger, the originator of Planned Parenthood, had what was called the Negro Project. Now, as much as I do not like to be one who appears to be hysterical and waving my arms talking about conspiracy and all that, I have to think that our folks, just like Tuskegee and everything, was a test case for a much larger project that is now being launched upon the entire nation, and that is progressive liberalism. That's just my opinion. But evidently, the evidence from where this began, the insemination of it, to where it is now, is not only capsulized black folks and has enslaved two generations of black folks, but this has been a test case to try on the entire nation.
But ultimately, who's responsible? Because, you know, the liberals love to take care of these inner city people, saying you don't have to do anything, you don't have to think, you don't have to work, we'll take care of you, we owe you. And it's the worst and most disrespectful kind of affirmative action and progress that it's almost unspeakable. Because they really don't respect, they have no respect.
The white liberals, Brother Armstrong, is this, are just like the old, as we depict in the movie, just like the old slave master. The white liberals want black folks and whoever else is dependent upon government not to love that child or to love that woman who's in the house. They don't want that woman to love that man. They want them to love them. Master never wanted the slave to love his wife or his children. In fact, they broke that up. Master wanted the slave to love him. And that is the design of progressive liberalism. I'll give you whatever you need, as long as you keep that man out of your life and you look to me for your substance. I want you to love me. The old white phrase is this: what have you given back to the community? You never hear them say, what have you given to your family? What have you given to your children? That is a socialist idea, to give back to the community. Now, truly, you and I as Christians are driven by our Christianity to help those who are less fortunate. But nobody compels me to do that except the love of Christ in my heart.
They will say they have the love of Christ in their hearts, and they are well-meaning, and they do a lot of good.
Absolutely, they will say that. But let's look at the fruit that is born. Let's look at the fruit of dependency and the fruit of self-sufficiency. You said it yourself. When will we take responsibility for what we have done? The old joke goes, I think it's Jeff Foxworthy, the guy I've met. He says, if you have to climb a water tower with a bucket of paint to defend your sister's honor, you may be a redneck. Well, the thing is, man, if we don't change the way our response is to this social climate, then I can see a lot of water towers in our future, because we're going to have to defend the honor of we're not defending the honor of our women. We're degrading them right and left.
We're live, and for those of you that are just joining us, the eloquent and just a good human being, C.L. Bryant in his movie Runaway Slave, that's premiering all over the country. There's a 50-year-old lie that has caused an entire people to become slaves to the political idea that government knows what is best, Reverend Bryant says. Runaway Slave would empower Americans to free themselves from generations of enslavement to a tyrannical economic system. We're streaming live at www.livestream.com/Armstrong Williams. We'll be back. Don't go away. Reverend C.L. Bryant and Runaway Slave.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Does your school, team, church, or charity need a new fundraiser? Do you need to work out of your home or part-time? Are you a small business that can use an additional revenue stream? Then you need Yellow Llama. Do you need affordable web services or tools to enhance your existing business? Are you a graphic artist who wants to create a revenue stream with your art but not get ripped off? Then go to www.yellowllama.com.
Anderson Brothers Bank, a family-owned and operated establishment that blends traditional personal service, local market awareness, and advanced technology to meet the financial needs of its customers. Visit abbank.com or call 843-464-6271 to see how they can assist you with your banking needs. Anderson Brothers Bank, celebrating 75 years of community banking, the way it should be. Stability right in your backyard since 1933.
Most Americans simply have never been taught the basics of money management, let alone how to secure their financial future. But there is hope. Financial Education and Literacy Advisors, also known as FELA, does what others don't. FELA teaches financial education. If you'd like more information about providing a financial wellness program for your employees, or a credit-bearing college course in personal finance, or other valuable programs, please visit myfela.com. That's myfela.com, or send an email to info@myfela.com.
Hi, this is Armstrong Williams with an opportunity to own a piece of paradise in Nassau, Bahamas. Spectacular land prices, 8,000 square feet, 20,000 square feet lot, affordable prices, hilltop properties with views of the magnificent sea. Just call 242-677-3120 or 3121 or go to info@rightsidewire.com and leave your information.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
So, C.L. Bryant, tell our audience about you, how you got started. Your own life provides unique insights into the racial and political issues of the day. A former chapter president of the Garland, Texas, NAACP, former Democratic activist and pastor. You had a front row seat to the civil rights movement in the South. and you, I mean, you're not talking, you're no some right-wing Republican. You grew up believing the very things that you're condemning now. Where did you see the light? What was your epiphany?
The condemnation of it, Armstrong, may not be quite as strong as all of that. You see, I admire what we have accomplished as a people in this country and the struggle in which we had to endure and go through to get to where we are today. But what I detest, and I trust, I believe that you and I are on the same page with, what I detest is the hustle and the sellout that has taken place among our so-called black leaders. Where have they led us to? Where have they brought us to? And what have we received in return for our 96% loyalty to this particular leadership? There has been a hustle that has been perpetrated, in my opinion, upon black folks in the name of blackness and in the name of civil rights. Yes, we have achieved a more level playing field. But my goodness, here in America, and most black folks don't like it when I say this, but it does not matter if you came here on the Mayflower or if you came here in chains. This is one place in the world where there has never been any guarantees that anybody would ever make it. The Pilgrims, when they landed here, there was no guarantees they'd make it. Yes, they were white, but they were buckyards. The slave who decides that, hey, freedom is all around me, master's free, his friends are free, I'm going to run off from here, and I'm going to try to grab some of that freedom for myself. There was no guarantee that he would make it. But here you and I are in the year 2012. We are living proof that somebody was successful in this country. And you and I, I've seen you, you've seen me. Both of us are children of black folks.
You know, so what is it that needs to happen to change this runaway slave train?
What needs to happen is what we've been talking about, and that is this: personal responsibility for your actions. No more can we use the excuse of blaming Mr. Charlie, blaming the white man for my shortcomings. It is time for us to step up to the plate and realize the dream of King, and you and I believe, are trying to live this example. And that is, I want you to judge me by the content of my character. I'm a free man. And guess what, Armstrong? I'm a free man before I'm a black man. In 2012, right now, my grandparents, my great-grandparents who were former slaves, they didn't suffer and go through everything they went through so that I could be a black man. They went through everything they suffered and went through so I could be a free man. And I'm a free man first. I'm a child of God second. I am a black American on top of all the, including with all of that.
You know, I want to tell you this. Tell us the progress or some sense of transformation, a hope that you have gotten since the release of this movie.
There has been great response among those of us who have been in the closet. I feel very confident that this movie, Brother Armstrong, is going to change the direction of the conversation. I am confident that there are some who have not had the courage to tell those sitting in the seats next to them in the church or the lodge or wherever that, you know what, I heard what Herman Cain said. I heard what Bryant said. I hear what Armstrong Williams is saying. And, you know, I haven't told you this before, but you know what? I really do agree with them. I believe that this movie and men like us and women like Star Parker, Alveda King, and others will give others the courage to be individuals. We are the only group of people in this country, and I believe this holds us back, who like to first think as a group and then think as individuals. Whereas all the rest of those who have come here and have succeeded, they think as individuals first, and then they think as how this will affect the group. We don't succeed as groups. There was a time in the 60s, 50s, yes, we had to band together the way we band together because we were all in the same boat. But black folks have become so diverse, and the opportunities are so wide in this country now, that if a person who owns land and owns property in this country is voting the same way as a person who doesn't own land, doesn't own property, doesn't have a job, somebody is a fool in that scenario.
How do you break this yoke, this chain of dependency? I mean, because really, it's so blinding. And it really, I mean, you think about all the different people and cultures that have come to the United States and how they thrive. They experience the American dream. They sing the immigrant song. And yet there's a certain culture that is still marred in the same problems they were talking about 50, 60, 70, 100 years ago. They want to blame Republicans, and yet nothing changed. It gets worse when Democrats in power. They have President Obama in the White House, and the plot of their lives are no better. Where have their lives improved dramatically for the kind of support that they give these candidates? And Obama just, who happens to be American black and who happens to be a Democrat. But what do they have to show for this blind loyalty?
That is the question. You ask the Jamaican, what does he love about America? You ask the Vietnamese, what do they love about America? Ask the Mexican, who will risk his life to get him, what does he love about America? They will tell you that this, and I've talked to them. I talk to them almost on a monthly basis. They will tell you that they don't understand the American black man. They don't understand the American black, how they can be here surrounded by plenty, surrounded by opportunity, but yet don't take advantage of it. I have been to places like St. Louis and little places like Opelika, Alabama. And you know what I run into? I run into Jamaicans who own hotels. I run into Mexicans who came here and let them hear their story about how they struggled and lived in the same house, sometimes 6 and 7, 10 deep, until they were able to do better. Let them tell you about how they didn't even speak the language, and yet here they are 10 years later after coming here legally have succeeded. Let the Jamaican tell you, let the African tell you his story. So you know what? I'm convinced. I'm not just of the mindset. I'm convinced that this is not any longer racism that's keeping people of color back. It's an attitude. And unless you adjust that attitude to understanding that we are exceptional people and this is an exceptional land, we will always be trapped with that mindset that the overseers that we talked about want you to have. Understand, those overseers are being paid very well to keep you where you are. And as long as you don't change your mindset, that's where you'll stay.
But the problem is also, and we only have a minute left, is that government and its programs have become their God, and their religion is just below the surface. It's not really deep. They say they believe in God, but their actions don't play that out. If you believe in God, you don't want to be dependent on some government program that could expire and go away. It's sort of the kind of challenges the government is having today. They cannot take care of the poor and the have-not the way they once were to. And so what you got to do, you got to put yourself faith in something that has roots and has had roots since the beginning of time.
Brother Armstrong, one of the biggest lies that black folks and folks in general have believed is a distortion of Scripture in the book of Genesis, where Cain asked God, am I my brother's keeper? That has been taken out of context. Cain, who was known as the first murderer in the Bible, was being very sarcastic when God asked him, where is your brother Abel? Cain turns to God and he says to him, am I my brother's keeper? Armstrong, I don't need to be my brother's keeper. I don't need nobody keeping me. I will look out for my brother's welfare to keep him from being harmed. But it's up to him to do what he needs to do for his family. It's up to him to do what he needs to do for his children. And it's another lie. No village can raise a child. It takes parents to raise a child, because there are people in the village that I don't want near my children.
But the village is not there in the critical moments when the child really needs guidance. That's why the child needs the parents. And the child cannot always confide in a village that may not always has its best interest. That village may end up exploiting that child.
Thank you. Thank you. That's exactly the point. And so there are several catchphrases that we have been told and fed and lied to.
Pastor Bryant, with the 30 seconds we have left, how can somebody watch the movie?
Well, we're about to have 250 theaters across the country, so if it comes to a theater near you, we haven't gone to DVD yet, but as soon as we do, we will let everybody know.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank our earlier guest, Donna May. Take everybody from the Armstrong Williams Show.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Join the millions of Americans who pursue one of our country's finest traditions, from hunting to sports shooting. Since 1871, the NRA has grown as a service organization involved in all aspects of shooting sports and is a proud defender of the Bill of Rights. Join today to begin taking advantage of exclusive membership offers and discounts, including up to $25,000 in insurance coverage. Contact the NRA today. Call 1-800-672-3888 or visit nra.org.
Hello, my name is Ron Moulton. I'm running as a Republican for the City Council in the nation's capital, a political arena dominated by the Democratic Party. I'm seeking office in Ward 7, overwhelmed by unemployment and poverty. For the first time in decades, we have an opportunity to be elected, as the people that need the representation the most are now responding to the principles that will uplift them. For more information about my values and to donate, please visit www.ronmoulton.com.
Most Americans simply have never been taught the basics of money management, let alone how to secure their financial future. But there is hope. Financial Education and Literacy Advisors, also known as FELA, does what others don't. FELA teaches financial education. If you'd like more information about providing a financial wellness program for your employees, or a credit-bearing college course in personal finance, or other valuable programs, please visit myfela.com. That's myfela.com, or send an email to info@myfela.com.
Travelers along the road of life who have fallen asleep at the wheel, to the many who woke up in time to avert disaster and get back on the righteous path. For the ones who crashed and survived and now adhere vigilantly to a virtuous and righteous path. Finally, Armstrong Williams' much-anticipated new book, Reawakening Virtues, gives his insights into these daily challenges and much more. Reawakening Virtues is available in bookstores and at Amazon.com.
Does your school, team, church, or charity need a new fundraiser? Do you need to work out of your home or part-time? Are you a small business that can use an additional revenue stream? Then you need Yellow Llama. Do you need affordable web services or tools to enhance your existing business? Are you a graphic artist who wants to create a revenue stream with your art but not get ripped off? Then go to www.yellowllama.com.
Go back, I got to ask you, but then I got to get what we need. Soul food. Henry soul food. No, we need it. Soul food. Henry soul food. No, I like it. Soul food. Henry soul food. No, we need it. Soul food. Henry soul food. Hit me.
Home of the sweet potato pie. Even the keenest taste buds will tell you the best food on the planet. Large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. So get to Henry's at 5431 Indian Head Highway, Oxon Hill, Maryland, or give us a call at 301-749-6856.
Soul food. Henry soul food. What we need. Soul food. Armstrong. I dare you to listen. Hey, let's make this. Turn it up. Hey. I gotta play. Get on the right side. Armstrong. Elevate your mind. Armstrong. I'm Armstrong Williams on the right side. Armstrong. Yo, man, it's your boy K.O. And you're tuned into the most conservative of our brothers. Armstrong. The Armstrong Williams Show. Please give me a break. Grow up.
Okay, good. Just tell them all closing codes. Yeah.
So you basically would get clear all this money.
Okay. All right. Good. Let's make that work.
All right. Let me do that.
Gigi.
Store owner, Mister. I'm just saying. Do we have to add anyone to this?
No, I don't have I don't have business partners.
I know the tax record shows that, but I don't know.
I don't have partners in anything.
I just want to make sure.